everybody, welcome back to the channel, Bees in the Weeds. It is a beautiful spring day here in Kentucky. It is, what is today? April 12th. It's 56, 57 degrees, I think. And it's time to super up. So we are putting honey supers on the colonies. Always an exciting time of the year. When you're ready to put the honey supers on, because you know stuff's about to pop here in Kentucky. We have redbud that is either blooming or getting very close to blooming. We have olive that's blooming. We've got the henbit and purple dead nettle that's blooming. And generally speaking, black locust is the start of our honey flow here in this region, and it's very close. So a couple of my friends keep a pretty close eye on that type of stuff, and they told me today that they are supering. So that's what I'm going to do. So what I do with, and I've already started on 3 colonies over there that you can't see off camera, but I've got 6 more to go. I start with 2 supers for every colony. And I think the general census is it takes 2 supers for the bees to have enough room to cure nectar to make 1 super worth of honey. I think generally it's like a 2-for-1 deal. So however much space they need for honey, they need twice as much of that to cure for nectar. I'm pretty sure on that. Somebody fact check me and look that up. But yeah, so this year I'm doing the Dave Hansberry comb honey and all of my supers. So frames 3 and 7, and I'll show you here in just a second, are going to have cut comb. And the rest of them are pretty much, frames 1 and 10 are new foundation, and all the other frames in between are drawn comb from previous honey removals, extraction. So, which is always good if you can start with drawn comb, give your bees something to start with. It's always usually a good thing. So this is not a super exciting process, although, I mean, to watch, although it's pretty exciting, just like I said, from the perspective that you now have supers on your colony and the bees are officially able to store nectar. But I figured I'd take you through 4 colonies here if you'd like to watch and see the process. It's really pretty straightforward. It's not a whole lot to it. I'm going to go grab 2 of the supers now in the back of the UTV, get them ready. And then I've got pollen, one of my pollen traps here with the slatted rack on it that I'm going to swap the bottom board out on this one. So let's go ahead and grab our first 2 supers. Just get them ready. I'll tell you what, if you don't have one of these gorilla ladder benches, they're a game changer in the apiary. I'll put a link down in the description where you can pick one up. I need to buy another one because I think you can't have enough of these around the yard. I mean, I'd love to have 2 or 3 more of these around just to be able to set stuff and hold stuff. I think it's an absolute game changer when I first got one. Definitely know it's spring because my allergies are driving me nuts. So I apologize if you got to hear me sniff throughout the video. Oh, I already forgot something, didn't I? I forgot my queen excluder. Go ahead and grab those. You know, a lot of beekeeping is about being efficient, and boy, do I have room for improvement there. Every time I get into a hive or do something, I'm like, oh, forgot this. Oh, need to go get that. Oh, got to go back to the pole barn. Those of you that have out yards, or you know, your apiary is far away from your home or wherever you store all your equipment, God bless you guys, because you must just load up, guys and gals, okay? You must load up your trucks, your vans, your cars, I don't know, with everything you can possibly think of, because you wouldn't want to drive half hour, 45 minutes away, God forbid an hour away or something, and oh, I forgot a box, and now you have to go back and get. I can't imagine that. I'm too inefficient or too forgetful or whatever it is to be able to do that. So, all right, pretty straightforward here. See? Oh, there's hive tool. Okay, see, I forgot my hive tool. Okay. No, by the way, always check, always check under the cover. That hive over there just a few minutes ago, I opened it up, queen was right there on the inner cover. And even more crazy, and as God and my dad are my witness, this has never happened to me before. I was putting, same thing I'm going to do over there. I was putting a bottom board, Apame bottom board pollen trap with the slatted rack on a hive over there. And I picked up the box, set it over here. And then I always check, you know, down inside the bottom of the bottom board. And there was one bee down in that bottom board. And which bee, I'll give you one guess. Which bee do you think that was? It was a freaking queen with a green dot on her, crawling around on the bottom board all by herself. As God is my witness, like I said, my dad saw it happen. I couldn't believe it. I wish I had it on camera so you guys could have seen it. But yeah, this is how exciting this is. You literally just take off the inner cover, put on a queen excluder, grab your first super, and I'll go ahead and show you. So you can see I have them marked here. I only use 9 frames, and I'll explain that in a minute. But you can see frames 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 3 and 7 are cut comb. And if you watched my previous video, you saw how I make these, how I prep these. If you haven't, go check that video out. But yeah, and the reason why I use 9, we got this disc coming loose, and we'll talk about these discs here in a second because someone will have a question. The reason I use 9 is because the bees will draw much fatter wax. So you see how they're clustered together as if there were 10 in here right now? The bees will only draw wax right to the edge of this frame right here. And when you're taking your uncapping knife or your uncapping machine, it's a lot harder to cut that off. If you space these out with a 9-frame spacer, they're going to draw a lot fatter comb. They're going to draw comb out to here, and it makes it a breeze to take your cutting knife and cut those caps off so you can put these frames in your extractor. So most beekeepers that I know run either 9s or 8s. 8, you take the risk of getting some wonky comb in there. I don't run 8s, even though I do have an 8-frame spacer. So all you do, kind of eyeball them, space them out. Take your handy dandy little spacer. I'll put a link to this in the description. Although this is just kind of a cheap plastic one. I think my buddy Dave got some fancy schmancy ones from Thorn. I'm gonna buy one off him. They're stainless steel. A lot more solid. Sometimes these queen excluders have some gunk on the top of them, and it keeps these frames sticking proud, so it can be a little testy sometimes trying to get these lined up just right. But this is all I do. I just go back and forth, try to make sure that they're right where they need to be. And then once the bees start to propolize this, they're not moving. And then you just take your second one. Like I said, I always start with 2 because right when our flow hits, there's nectar coming in like crazy. And bees can fill up a strong colony can fill up a super lickety split. These aren't super strong colonies by any stretch of the imagination, but I got in them the other day and there's frame after frame of brood. So they're about to explode in numbers. And just for pure swarm prevention purposes, having this extra space will help. And there'll be enough bees to patrol it too, so you don't have to worry about wax moths. All right, I get that. That's being a little finicky there. Okay, so let's talk about these discs. If you haven't seen my video on super entrances, these discs, I encourage you to go watch it. I think I posted it maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, something like that. But essentially, I think it gives you options. So right now, I currently have it on queen excluder mode. And that allows these foragers to come and go directly into the supers. So when we're in a hard flow and those foragers are just getting it after it, they're just zipping in and out, beelining it literally in and out of the hive. You know, they're going to collect that nectar, they're coming back, and they're wanting to pass it off to a receiver bee. And so she will regurgitate that nectar from her honey stomach, which mixes with the enzymes. And that receiver bee will take that and store it in her honey stomach. And then she will go and deposit it into one of the frames, right? And that's the part of the process of how honey is made with the bees' enzymes in their honey stomach, how they convert from nectar to honey. To me, this just makes the process more efficient for the bees, because otherwise that forager has to come in the bottom where the brood chamber is, has to go up into the brood chamber and find a receiver bee that's ready to accept that, and then turn around and go back out the front entrance and go get some more. Whereas if she can go directly into the supers, a lot of times the receiver bees will be right there waiting. She passes off that nectar, turns around, flies off, and it's just, I find that they use the snot out of them. So, and I'll show you on future videos, you can just see the bees just zooming in and out of these discs. So it's personal preference, right? I like them, and the disc gives you options. I used to run them wide open during the honey flow, but I learned that's not a smart idea, because if the bees swarm and you've got a virgin that goes out, go on, I'm trying to not squish you. You got a virgin that goes out on her mating flights, and guess where she went back in? She went back in the wide open entrance disc, started laying all through my supers, and I used the queen excluder, so she couldn't even get down into the brood area. So that day was a hot mess. What are you doing, Josh? You're trying to work while talking. That's a problem. Yeah, so that was a hot mess in there. Now, I know some people that let their queens lay in their supers. Personal preference. I've tried it. I don't like it. The reason I don't like it, I do think it would help 100%. Like, it would help with my swarming problems. I'm hoping these slatted racks will take the edge off of the swarming, where I've got 10 colonies a year in the trees. They may still swarm on me. I have no idea, but the reason I don't like letting queens lay in my supers is because you get that, whenever that larva pupates, you get like a cocoon. There's a protein cocoon shell that's left behind when that bee emerges. And that stuff is like catnip for cats. It's like catnip for wax moths. The larvae absolutely go nuts. Ow, you turd. Absolutely go nuts over that stuff. Yeah. And so part of when you're storing, I got to think about what I'm doing here. Part of when you're storing these supers and the frames over the wintertime, and you're trying to keep the wax moths out, you don't, I'm not going to say you'll never have a problem, but the amount of wax moth damage or problems that you'll have is much, much, much less if you don't have frames that bees have emerged from. I'm going to go grab 2 more supers. Let's see what color is that. It's a box. We'll grab a red and a white one over here. And before anybody says anything in the comments, I'm well aware red is not an ideal color in beekeeping because bees can't see it. I know that. I used what I had. And to me, that's, rather than spending money on more paint, I just used what I had. The bees seem to be able to find the supers just fine. I better be careful before I make this statement. I don't have any red. Maybe I do have a red brood box. So mated queens returning. I don't know. I haven't had any issues, knock on wood, with getting mated queens to return. even with that colored brood box. You know, I do have different colored entrances on them. So I'm sure they can see that. That's also why some of these colonies have stickers on them. That was an attempt for me to try to improve success of queens returning successfully on their mating flight. My dog's over there whining. I don't know what his problem is. Okay, we'll stick the second one on here. Go ahead and space them. Pretty easy process, right? One thing Dave told me, with these cut combs, you want to make sure each side of those has a nice fully drawn frame of comb that's already been, you know, drawn by the bees in use. That way, it doesn't get all wonky on you. They're less likely to build wonky comb next to it, right? So these are the days that are so nice to be out here when it's like a little chilly, like 58 degrees. You're not sweating your butt off in your bee suit. Actually feels really nice out here right now. Come July and August, fellow beaks out there, you know how miserable that gets, right? My parents were super nice and they bought me this vest that you put ice packs in. So I got to try it out a little bit last year, but I'm anxious to try it this year just to see how much it helps keep me cool in the wintertime. But like I said, I've got the discs on queen excluder mode right now. That allows the foragers to come and go, but no drones and no queens to come and go. Drones can still get in at the bottom just fine. And for you newer beaks out there, drones are the male bees. Queens are making drones right now. There is drone brood. Drones are hatching. Drones are 100% made of the mother queen's genetics. So it is an unfertilized egg that turns into a drone. And drones' only job in life is to mate with virgin queens. So they are welcome in any hive. And I was talking to Kent Williams a couple days ago on a Zoom call, and I was asking him about that well, I don't know if it's new, but that tropolelapse mite that's plaguing, what is it? Is it Asia? Certain parts of Asia right now. Devastating mite for honeybees. And I can't remember the exact number, but I know that they are far more prolific at expanding their numbers than Varroa destructor. Something like Varroa destructor, the average is like one mite goes in a cell and 2.1 or 2.2 comes out. That's the average. Tropolelapse is something like 10 or 20 times, something like that. He told me. I forget exact number that he said, but it's like one mite goes in, 20 come out. It's insane. And they feed off the hemolymph, which is kind of like the bee blood. We used to think that Varroa destructor feed off the hemolymph, but they actually feed off the fat bodies, which is essentially like a honeybee's liver. And that's what Varroa is feeding on. Tropolelapse feeds on the hemolymph. And it's interesting. They cannot survive a brood break because they have to have brood to feed on. And my question to Kent was, if tropolelapse is just on the brood, how is it that they're getting from hive to hive if they're not like the... Well, I keep wanting to call... This is a good-looking colony. I keep wanting to call them the phoretic mites, but I got corrected the other day from EAS Master Beekeeper John Benham. They're called something else now because phoretic means one being or one thing attaching onto another as a host, but not harming the host. That's phoretic. Look it up. I don't know. Google it. Ask AI, Chat GPT, whatever. But and clearly, in the case of Varroa destructor and tropolelapse, for that matter, the phoretic, it's not a correct term because the mite is causing harm to the honeybee, and so we should not be calling them phoretic mites anymore. Let me go grab 2 more supers. So I was asking Kent, you know, if Tropolalaps has to survive based on the, you know, the brood, the hemolymph in the brood, and it's not it doesn't attach itself to a bee. Let's stop calling it phoretic. It doesn't attach itself to an adult bee to hitch a ride to go from colony to colony. How do they get spread? And he said, well, they do. He said, it's not that they won't attach themselves to a bee. They probably are. And he said, probably a drone, because a drone is welcome in any colony. And so, what are you two doing? So, you know, I believe that these Tropolalaps mites are attaching to drones, and that's how they're getting from colony to colony. Because I was wondering how they were spread. Like, how are they spreading? He also said, you know, beekeepers could be doing it too. Thankfully, we don't have that mite here in the United States yet, but I bet it's coming. You know, a colony that swarm or something that's on a freight ship or cargo ship comes over, and then the next thing you know, throws off a swarm or something into the United States or into Canada, and from Canada it comes down to here. So I don't know. It's I tell you what, you better be using formic acid as part of your IPM, because without formic, we're in big trouble when it comes to Tropolalaps, because that's one of the few miticides we have that penetrates captive brood, and Tropolalaps is under captive brood. I mean, that's where it is. So that there's none of this. I wish I knew that term that John told me. None of this used to be called phoretic mite, because Tropolalaps, while there may be some, that's not its preferred living quarters. But he also said there's certain beekeepers that live in the really cold climates, like maybe Ian Stepler or somebody up there in Canada, or where it gets really, their winters are really cold, and they experience a 100% brood break. That's devastating for the, thankfully, that's devastating for the Tropolalaps mite. And they won't be able to survive those brutal cold winters up there. So they're not as worried about it. I'm worried about it. I don't lose sleep at night or anything. Go on, get out of here. But it's one of those things. It's like, how many more things are trying to kill and harm our honeybees? My God. It seems like every time I turn around, something new. Murder hornets, yellow-legged hornets, mites. Go on and on. Not to mention natural predators like skunks and everything else they have to deal with. So no wonder they're moody a lot. So, all right, we got one more to go through here. Why don't I go ahead and reposition the camera so y'all can get a better view. Okay, let's finish this one up. Grab the final two supers here. Get them staged and ready. Dad, what time is it? 4:54. I'm going to stop here in about an hour. My kids are wanting to go see that new Minecraft movie. Good grief. All right, last one here, and then we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna swap out the bottom boards. I'm gonna put this pollen trap in this one. Should be relatively easy. That's a pretty good looking colony. All right, let's shake these bees off. Most of them anyway. Let's smoke them down. I like to put these pollen, well, eventually I'll put these pollen traps on all the colonies, but I hesitate putting them on a a weaker colony because they're, you know, you don't want to slow them down. This is my first time pulling a deep off a slatted rack. Let's see what this looks like. And hope our queen's not on that slatted rack. That's heavy. That's a heavy deep. Oh, nice. There's hardly none on there. That's good. Let's go ahead and pop this off. Just kind of shake the bees off. There's a few bees right there. All right. Clean that up a little bit. Set that aside. Check the bottom board for the queen because I just had that literally happen today. Absolutely ridiculous. Okay. I don't see her. Set that aside. Man, my dog is going nuts over there. What are they doing? They're like torturing him. Probably my son and his friend are outside playing and he can't get to him. Okay. There we go. All right. Make sure half of that's open. It is. Let's take this and put it back on. Okay, that was easy. Not too bad, not too bad. Get that mostly centered. Okay, not too bad. Go grab the last queen excluder. Between the kids and my guinea, there's a lot of background noise. Sounds like chaos over there, doesn't it? I don't know if the mic's picking all that up or not, but all right, let's get some supers on. This is a good looking colony. Should get a pretty good honey crop off this one. Hopefully. I'm gonna put the white one on first. All right. Go ahead and get this spaced out. Whew. Speaking of Kent, I am going to his bee school again this year. Super excited about that. It's coming up in just, what, 2 weeks, I think? Lake Berkeley puts it on. Such a great time there, man. I think I'm going to go camp a couple nights. He lets me just pitch a tent there on his property. And I'm about as happy as you can be. And I get to follow him around all day and listen to him talk about all things bees. Try to get my friends to come down there with me, but they always seem to have excuses on why they can't go down.
Oh, go work my bees. Can't take off work.
Yeah, you know who you are. Missing out, though. It is a lot of fun. It's just cool being around. It's almost like the North American Honeybee Expo where you're just surrounded by fellow bee nerds, you know? And then you get to try stuff. If you've never done grafting before, you know, he'll pull out a frame and let you take the grafting tool and give that a try. And that way you can see how poor your eyesight is. Did not do a good job cleaning this frame up. But yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. It's for all experience level, all ages. He even feeds you a really nice meal once a day at lunch. Good home cooked meal. It's really nice. He and his wife and all the other helpers that they have. I know I'm sure it takes a tremendous effort to do that. Now, I want to say he's been doing it like, oh my gosh, 20 some years or something. It's a long time. Long time. All right, make sure that that's all that I have back here. Yeah. See how easy that is? Not too bad. Now you got 4 colonies here ready to, some good population ready to explode, and got the flow right around the corner here anytime within probably a week or so, or maybe just starting now. Like I said, nectar's coming in. So pretty easy, huh? That's all there is to it. We'll keep an eye on them, and fingers crossed, hopefully we get a bumper crop this year. So I think that's it. I'm going to finish putting supers on the other 2 colonies here, see what in the heck is wrong with my dog, and get things wrapped up and finished up so the boys can go see the movie tonight. So that's it for this video. If you liked it, give it the thumbs up. God bless you and your bees. Hope you guys have a beautiful day, and I'll see you on the next one.